How are
I
you doing?
know. Good, good. I'm wishing you Valentine's Day online.
Thank you. Thank you.
So a
And
bit
same to
late.
you.
Thank you.
I
Thanks so
really
much.
like what you're wearing. It's looking very pretty.
Oh, is it? I'm going out for some work today, so I thought to dress
Yeah,
up.
it's looking really, really nice.
Thank you. Otherwise, it's all work from home, right? So most of the time in pajamas and t-shirt. So
All right. So we are here for our third Gupshup. Hello, everyone. So you're now watching our third episode on Coaching Gupshup with Smita and Kiwa. And today we are going to be talking about relationships. Smita, you want to share why we want to talk about relationships?
yeah. So what better than this month of Feb, right? Where it's not just about the 14th of Feb, but it's the entire month. Someone is celebrating something, right? Chocolate Day, Rose Day, God knows what, all days. So, yeah. So here we are today in the month of Feb, celebrating about the relationships that we hold so dearly.
And I think the relationships, as I'm also seeing the different posts on social media, be it on LinkedIn, Instagram, that people are sharing, it's really interesting to see how people are actually viewing love in so many different ways. Like loving nature, love
Yeah.
for work, love for who we are. So it's and of course love in, let's say, romantic relationship. So it's really, really amazing how like love actually shows up in so many different ways. So what do you think
Yeah.
about it, Sneha? Like in what different ways do you see love and relationships around you?
It's like, the boundary of that Valentine's Day is not limited to just that romantic relationship, but it's the relationship with, with everything around us and everything in our system. And I don't know if you've heard of this, like the girls were wishing each other saying Happy Valentine's Day. I'm like, wow.
Yes.
So it's really nice to see that it's the scope of everything is now increasing. Like people are not looking things in silos, like looking it very collectively. And it's not about also like this work and life and that balance and all. It's the word balance literally sounds to me like there is some kind of a struggle in order to balance, but having that kind of loving approach and an integrated approach to both might not sound like too much of a struggle or a work. What do you think?
Yeah, like I'm just thinking, Smita, that I think one of the things that I have, I don't know if it's my age and that I'm getting older, so I'm realizing this, or if it's really just a sense that people are building about wanting to know more and more about who they are, as individuals. What is it that people value? What is it that defines who they are? Because I think when the relationship with self becomes more and more defined, and you begin to appreciate that, begin to love yourself, accept yourself, I think, like you said, it's the balance doesn't feel that much of a struggle, and it becomes more about integrating different components of your life in a way that makes you feel wholesome. So I
Mm.
think when I think of relationships, and at least what's coming to my mind this month, as I'm seeing so many people celebrate, such with such positivity, it's making me think about, yeah, one, like what is my relationship with myself, and how is that translating into relationships with people around me, in different
Mm.
dynamics.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's such a beautiful point. It really starts with self, and I think I have personally experienced that, like by being in this space of coaching, like before even learning the process or before even providing that kind of a space for the other. I think it was about me first, and then how all of those learnings applied to myself first helped me to understand, become more self-aware as to what is it that I'm good at, or what is it that I like, what is it that I am facing it difficult, or something which needs some kind of an attention and nurture. So I think that's really a game changer when we become more self-aware. Like it was for me for sure. understanding that, there are certain aspects which is, like, for example, public speaking, right? Like, all through in my head, because there was an experience in the past, like there was this, debate competition that I had participated, and that was in Hindi. And it was, the topic was the Dahej Ek Pratha. So that is, converting that to English, which means dowry. Dahej is dowry, and I had to speak on that, something which was like, I was very sensitive about dowry, and that culture that many families here in India follow. I had very strong opinion about that, and I'd written, I'd really asked around people and prepared for that. But on the stage that day, I froze. I just could speak around 5 sentences. So somewhere, that incident kind of made me feel that somewhere the relationship with myself that day kind of broke, because I didn't meet my own expectations. And from that day, it sat in my head that I'm not good at this. Like, this is not something that I would ever want to even attempt. Right. So I think that during this journey, I kind of realized it's about that day and one incident. I can, repick, rework, and retry, like, and see if it is, how it serves me. So yeah, I think that's been my experience. Are you reminded of any of your childhood when you're thinking about the relationship with your own self?
Yeah, definitely. So many incidents. And I think a lot of it again is the sentence that was coming to my mind was the stories that we begin to tell ourselves, right? Like through this incident, you form a narrative and it becomes your reality, which maybe it wasn't even that important. Maybe it was at that stage in that moment in time. Like I was just thinking about, I mean, no particular incident as such, but I feel that, let's say growing up, you form certain kinds of friendships, and you're not even aware of who you are. You just probably become friends because you're like playing in the neighborhood or you enjoy a particular sport together, which is also fine. Like it's a form of relationship you form. But how, when you begin to get to know who you are, in this world and what you really value, how those relationships begin to evolve. And I think as a person, I found growing up sometimes that very challenging, that, oh, now that relationship is actually going to change. And what that means is, as I get to know myself more and more, some relationships are going to, only be a part of my life in that phase and will only become a memory and may not, get carried forward to the new phase. And I think that was a very big learning for me, because I realized that if I stay stuck there, then I stay stuck as a person. And it's nothing to do with another person. It's just that you are experiencing more things in your life and things are changing within you. So I think it's going to affect, changes around you with respect to how you want to spend your time, what kind of conversations you want to have, what kind of energy you are getting from the interactions that you have now. And that's what I'm beginning to think, right? Like it's about, at one stage in your life, you were somebody, and the relationships you had that time were for that phase, but things evolve, you evolve, and I think coaching for me has really given me that space to understand deeply who I am in this phase and who I was probably previously and how that has shifted. So this shift that is taking place, and it's also taking place right now in my life, where this is very, maybe earlier it happened more subconsciously and it looked like, you shift cities. So you say bye to some friends and you probably don't stay in touch. But now that is not a choice, right? Now there's social media and you're in touch with the whole world, right? So how do you consciously choose things without feeling guilty or without feeling upset about it? And just as we're talking about this, I remember in a lot of my coaching conversations where I was the client, when I was the coachee, practicing peer coaching with my cohort members, I used to always see one trend that used to come out in my conversations, which was around boundaries. That I would struggle a lot with figuring out and maintaining what that boundary is. Or I think I didn't even understand what boundary really, really meant till I went through this space and I realized it's to do with who I am, firstly. Until I don't know who I am and what relationship I share with myself, how can I set a relationship with others and say I'm okay with this and I'm not okay with this? And And I think it's that exploration that is now beginning to help me to very clearly define relationships around me, be it with my family, because sometimes in a family setting, it looks like, like boundaries don't seem like as boundaries, right? But I'm beginning to realize that no, there is a boundary there as well. And it's okay for you to have that. I think in a professional setting, given the nature of, I think the understanding that it's a professional space, there is already an expectation of what a boundary looks like. But I think communication plays a key role there in how you're being able to share that explicitly. And the same goes in, let's say, your friendships and other relationships with people around you. So I think, boundaries is something that is coming to my mind.
Yeah, no, that's an amazing insight, I think, that you have about boundaries. And then until and unless we respect our own boundaries, how will we respect the boundaries for the other? I mean, until unless I become aware that these are my boundaries, I'll not be able to recognize that the other is indicating about their boundaries as well. And if we just, I think, something that has really worked for me is constantly a reminder saying that this is not it's a journey, right? It's not a destination. Like if we say being an ACC coach or a PCC coach or MCC coach, if we start considering ourselves like one finished product, like if I'm ACC, I'm supposed to know this, and I'm done with knowing all of this, and now I operate from the mindset of being a finished product, then something stops, right? Like the further enhancing or further learning kind of stops. So as long as that mindset is that of a continuous learner and being on that path as a journey, not considering at any point that we have reached the destination, I think that mindset really helps me to kind of manage the boundaries that we're talking about, having that respect, right? Communication, like most of the time, Kiva, like, I think I was not so great at that because I used to assume that, the other person will understand. And only through, these years of experience and the relationships at work, at home, with parent-in-laws, parents, it's like communication becomes so important. Like my mother, normally when she calls, she wants me to pick the call. Like she will not understand, or even though she will understand, it's always, she thinks that, okay, it's just a 1 minute call. You can just pick up and say that, hi, hello, and are you fine? And I'm good. And that's it. But as I started, explaining to her clearly that if I'm in a call, something like this, say for example, I can't leave the call, right? Like, so, and then I really showed her like a demo one day that how it looks like, just take a look and see then how do I pick up. So I think now I'm intentional about it. Again, I have not reached my destination, and I'm still in that journey, trying to constantly figure out how much granular the communication can be, so much the other person knows that you're operating from the authentic self. It's not like I'm trying to paint a picture in front of you, but that's actually what I'm going through right now.
As you were sharing, Smita, a thought that came to my mind was how, at least this is what I've experienced in India, at least, with how the previous generation always had relationships in mind as the biggest priority, right? Even if there was work, there was relationship at the center of everything, right? Family would always come first, and at least I have seen that change in certain ways. I don't know if it's for the better, for the worse. I don't know all that right now, but there has been a shift, and I keep thinking, like, how did that shift happen? Like, is it because our lives got too busy, or is it because there's too much information around that we are always busy in that information, or is it that our priorities have shifted? And it's not that we don't want to make relationships important, but it does feel, and like every time I also try to, let's say, speak to an old friend, it's like you have to check if they are free, if they are available, which I don't see with, let's say, even my parents. Like their old friend will be, let's say, in town, they'll give a call and they'll definitely end up meeting. But like one of my friends is visiting from school, is in town, and I said, oh, I'll only meet you over the weekend. Like I cannot meet you in the week at all. Like it was not even an option I wanted to consider. So I'm thinking how relationships have evolved over time, in some sense.
Yeah. People understand, right? I mean, the friend who's visited, he or she must also be facing the same thing. Like when you go, they must be also having a similar, situation, and it becomes difficult. So, something, when you were pointing that, I was just thinking about uh, communication, and I kind of now forget that important, again, it's my own reflection on the respect and the communication part of it. Yeah. So the point that I was thinking is, when we think about family members and close relationship, we have a certain kind of a relationship with them, and when we think of work, we want to call that professional, or keeping up to only limited to work. But my thought and my experience so far has been that connecting with people at work, like you may call that professional, but I think it's the respect that I have for your time as my colleague, and similarly that respect for my family member as a family member, and not taking these two as for granted, for whatever work that whatever the relationship that I share with them, but not taking that for granted. But at the same time, even maybe a family member, I would just take things for granted. For a colleague, I might not. But can I not operate from that space, but equally value the time of both? One part, and the other part is like, even for a work colleague, can I build that connect beyond that workspace? So
that's making me feel guilty, Smita. Now I'm like, oh yes, I do take my parents for granted. Or like let's say that friend, I'm like, I'll call you later, I'm at work. I'm like, oh, I'm feeling a bit guilty now, but yeah, that's
it's okay, as long as I think, Kiva, we are communicating, right? Like as long as the person who's come and knows that there is a reason for what we are doing, and again that's a part of the open conversation and a communication, where the other person understands from where I'm coming from.
True.
And this is all about, I think, as much as we can understand our own selves first, that allows and gives us space to understand the other person more, and then we see a reciprocation happening, right? I understand more, and I'm also understood more.
Correct. Wow. Yeah. So Smita, I have a question for you. If you have to tell me now, like, what is the relationship that you share with yourself? What comes to your mind?
I think the relationship I share with myself has that I'm picking your word on evolving. It's ever evolving, and right now it is more of seeing myself as somebody who is like matured and have a respect, and I love myself now. I think a few years back, if you would have asked me this question, it would have been totally different. But I think now I really love myself for who I am.
And I think all the things that you said, I think you radiate that. Like if I have to look at you as a third person, right? Like of course I am like an external person, right? And I view you as a person. These are the words that would come to my mind as well. So I think what we believe, who we are, and the relationship we share with ourselves is what we, bring to the world.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And it's a very profound question. So I want to ask you that question right back.
Oh my God, I've created trouble for myself. Honestly speaking, I have been thinking that I really need to take time out for myself, to really not just take time out during coaching sessions, which I am very happily doing, where you're coaching and you get to experience who you are. But I think I really need to, I'm feeling this urge to really spend time to know, okay, redefine, because things have changed from last year to now, even from 6 months back to now. And I want to sit down and be like, okay, who am I at this stage? And of course, I can be this and this and this and this. But are there like three things that I can very confidently say that in most scenarios, this is how I operate? Right now, I don't know because I think I haven't put thought to it. If you ask me a year back what I thought about myself, yes, I do have thoughts, but I think things have changed since then. So like you said, evolving, and I think I need that time to sit and actually like look within, which I haven't done. So maybe I have a plan for the weekend now.
This weekend.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
but what the interesting thing is, Smita, because I'm feeling this like need, right? That I need to take that time out for myself because I can see how it's spilling into other things around me. Like right now for me, it feels like work is full priority, like nothing else even matters right now. But I feel like relationships matter, right? Like I need to spend some more time with, let's say, my family, even my dog. My dog gets so excited in the morning when like I meet my dog, like, oh, pet me, pet me. Sometimes, oh my God, I have to like hurry up and I have to get started with the day. So I'm just thinking that is one aspect that I do need to focus on. And I hope just like you could, share these two things very confidently. I can get to that place soon.
Yeah. It's a journey. Like something now I'm feeling like this, but few days later, few months later, I might just feel something else. So
Exactly. Like I do know 3 months back, I did do this exercise for myself and I had certain thoughts, but I do feel in the last 3 months, things have changed around me.
yeah.
And of course, with those changes, I have changed, but I haven't thought about who I've become now.
Yeah. So, I really admire that with about Ujjwal, and I have seen him like, blending work and fun so beautifully, and also for the other, like I think he's been my mentor for this. I am picking up so much that how flawlessly this can be done, right? Like the other is important, your work is important, and how you can blend together all of this. So maybe having a mentor could be helpful also.
Yeah, I think one thing though that does come to my mind when you ask me that question is whatever the relationship, I know one thing, I have a very honest relationship with myself. Whatever
Yeah.
I'm going through at whatever state, I try my best to not live in denial. I'm like, this is the reality. If I am confused, I'm confused. If I'm feeling very this is, and I think that does get portrayed outside as well.
Absolutely, it does. Oh my God, that's such a great point that you know about yourself. I mean, I have seen this. Like, you will very confidently ask for whatever is needed, if at all you in that space of
Always.
yeah, not
You're the
knowing or any
recipient,
confusion.
Smita. I'm like, Smita, are you free for 2 minutes?
That is good, right? Like instead of that's a very good quality actually.
Yeah. So that's the
Great. That's like, I think we are picking up on some important aspects of what relationships would need for us to nurture them, whether it is with self, whether it's with the other. And for me, I think, Kiva, I would say, like, after just talking about so much of it, now I feel, it boils down to feel for me as, respect, as the key for anything, like any relationship, be it self, be it work, be it the other, be it system. I think I operate from that space of respect, and I would want to, I would never want to leave that ever.
On that note, I would like to share that, not share, like ask you if we can actually do a fun rapid fire.
Okay.
But I think most people do know what a rapid fire is, but I'm going to like say certain words and whatever comes to your mind first when you think of that word, you share whatever comes to your mind and we'll see like what it, yeah, whatever comes up from there.
Okay.
So
So
everything
Kiva,
to do with
looks
my
like you're
topic
putting me
today.
on the spot now.
Yeah.
Is this with coffee with Karan kind of a rapid fire round or something?
Yeah, exactly. So I think, yeah. Should we get started? Are you ready?
Okay.
First word that comes to your mind. Yeah. Okay. At the most, a sentence, but it cannot be an elaborate description or anything.
Okay. Got it. Yeah.
Family,
Love,
work,
commitment,
Self.
That's respect.
Coaching.
Passion.
Friends.
Many words, like all of these. Love, respect, can't live without.
Colleagues.
All of that as well.
Wow.
Respect, love.
World.
This is going to be like too much of it's all actually. I'm proud to be a part of the world. So proud.
Proud. Okay, I should pause here before I get to our solar system, our galaxy, the larger universe.
The universe. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Very nice.
Great.
Love it.
Oh, wow. So do I chance to ask you as well?
Okay, sure. Let's see what comes up. Maybe this will be like my starting point to that time that I need for myself.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Can we start?
Okay.
Okay, so if Kiva is given a chance to you're evolving, as you said. So how are you seeing your evolved version as? Like, what word comes to your mind?
Oh, the word that came to my mind was in touch. I don't know what that means. Like in touch with reality, in touch with my dreams, in touch with possibilities. So anything to do with in touch with like whatever I want to create and what is right now.
Okay. Love,
Hope.
friends,
Life.
coaching.
Learning.
Amazing. All right. So that's it. What is that? Fire?
Stealing the rapid fire idea from
rapid
here.
fire.
So,
wonderful. All
it
right.
was so nice catching up on this.
Yes, absolutely. It's always fun to have this, in between work, this quick conversation with you.
I know. And I just saw the time. I know that you have to rush for
Yes.
a meeting right now. So we'll close out and you have a wonderful day, and a big thank you to everyone who's watching this, and happy Valentine's Day to you. Hope you keep exploring who you are and you spread that to the world.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Happy Valentine's Day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you all
Bye.
next
Thank
week.
you, Kiva. Bye-bye.
Bye, Smita.
Bye.